Good morning once again. On behalf of the Spanish Chamber of Commerce in the UK, I'd like to give you a very warm welcome to this morning's webinar, which is on the topic of how digital experience platforms are transforming the way your business clients approach your business. As a quick disclaimer, we are recording today's session, and the recording will be shared following the webinar this morning. So we're thrilled to be holding this session in collaboration with Chamber Benefactor Nomad Mood. They're a digital transformation leading company that combines talent, technology, and business to make the most of the complex challenges faced by the market through innovation and sustainable development, with a commitment to add value to its more than 500 clients and support them in their digital transformation. Today, we're joined by Eduardo Cano, who you can see here. He's the Digital Transformation Director at Nomad Mood. As a visionary director of digital transformation, Eduardo specializes in orchestrating new technologies and e-commerce initiatives that redefine industries and push boundaries. With a distinct blend of lateral thinking and a sharp analytical mind, he excels in navigating the intricate realm of digital transformation with a clear focus on meeting business objectives. By seamlessly weaving state-of-the-art technologies into strategic frameworks, Eduardo leads the change in crafting novel business models that disrupt markets and reshape paradigms. So following on from Eduardo's presentation this morning, there will be time for a Q&A session. So throughout the duration of the talk, please do feel free to add any questions that you have directly to the Q&A function, which you'll see either below or above the presentation. And yeah, that's everything from me for now. Thank you, Eduardo, for joining us this morning. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction, Rebecca. Well, with introduction, I don't have to say much more about the company, about myself. Only just for you, in case that you are not aware, Nomad Mood, where we are already 30 years in the market with more than 2,500 people in the company, divided in 30 technological communities or hubs with high expertise people and profiles. And we were the formerly known as AT Sistemas, but we had a rebranding process this year. We are now Nomad Mood, and one of the reasons is because the internationalization process and objectives that we have. We are already in the UK. We have foothold in the UK with a company in the UK acquired and joined in our company. And indeed, that's why I'm here with my British mug for this session, just as a sign to our internationalization. Okay, let's go with the presentation and with the session of today. I've broken down what we are going to see in 6 blocks. You can see them here. First of all, and with the first block, we are going to see some data, some insights about the UK's digital market. I'm going to focus on the e-commerce. And just to see some figures and to capture your attention, the UK's sales last year accounted for 106 billion pounds. That is an unprecedented growth, although we saw a 10% of decrease last year. Why? Probably because of the post-COVID effect, okay, after the year 2021. The 2022 probably was the first normal year, to say it in this way, or so to speak. And we are also in an economic downturn, many uncertainty, or what I call the VUCA plus. This plus is, the inflation, the war in Ukraine, the uncertainty that we are living nowadays. But anyway, if we see the trends, it looks the future very well, very good for the e-commerce landscape in the UK. Notice that here you have the figures in British pounds, and here it's in US dollars. I just wanted to keep the figure exactly as I found it in the source. The source is the same, is Statista. And I was thinking about changing this into British pounds, but I prefer to just leave it as is. So in case that you are going to the source, you see exactly the same numbers. So the future looks great. We know that there will come new players, new ways to sell, that the e-commerce habits are here to stay, but that we have to combine these e-commerce habits also with omni-channel experiences, okay? It's what we have been talking for the last decade or more. nearly 40% of all retail sales in the UK are already happening online, and with industries like textile, clothing, or footwear that sell things that you want to touch, you want to feel, you want to normally try before buying. They already represent 25% of all the retail channels, which is a lot, and it consolidates the strategy of having to have an online presence. Imagine that 25% of your revenue now is decreased from your salary or your business or whatever. That will be something that is not sustainable. About the top UK online stores, we see that the top 10 UK stores account for the 33% of all the sales. So think about that. Only 10 stores, Apple, Currys, Tesco, AliExpress, Amazon, well, AliExpress is not here, it's in the top 20. They make for the 33% of all the sales. That's a lot. So here, I wanted to work out on an hypothesis, okay? These figures, just for you to know, are very similar to the same exercise that we did in Spain. That is, in Spain, for example, we found that the 30 top e-commerce stores made for the 41% of all the online sales. And if we go here, we see that in the UK, the top 20 online stores make almost half the online sales. Well, in this case, 44%. Investigating, I came across to this figure, 580,000 online stores appear to be in the UK. And we can assume, and this is an assumption, that, well, probably the top 1% of all the stores, that is, it would be 5,000 stores, can make up to 90% of all the e-commerce in the UK. This is an assumption, guys, okay, but just let's assume it, and probably it could be even higher. So this means that the 99% of all e-commerce stores left compete for the 10% of the pie. So indeed, I did a very quick and simple calculator. Okay, as you are going to receive this presentation, you can play with it. I put a filter of a 50%, a correction filter. This filter means that of all these stores, I assume that half of them are not active, or they are not selling, or they are just online catalogs of physical shops. But imagine that, but you can play with this. You can say, okay, I assume that all the UK stores are active and selling. So just with a correction filter of 50%, assuming that the 1% of all stores make the 90% of the e-commerce, what is left for the rest makes an average turnover of 37, almost 37,000 British pounds. I know this is an average. I know that the averages are not accurate. I know that there, as all as always happens, there will be small or medium companies that are making a lot online and others not. But I have to see the British market, and if I want to invest on or I want to put my money on the British market, I see that, okay, unless I come with a lot of money, I come with a big investment, and I can position my company as a top in the industry and in the whole UK market, the conclusions are that it takes a lot of effort and costs to success in e-commerce. Big players take all, they get the most of the pipe. So to make a difference, to differentiate myself, to try to, or to have an opportunity to success, I have to have a 360 e-commerce strategy. We have to count on the best tools and platforms, and they have to be flexible and scalable. And I have to be very good at marketing technology and operating efficiency and all these kind of things. Okay, so just to attract your attention, the future looks very good. The e-commerce pie is going to get bigger, but we see that the big players are taking all. So if we are not a big player, we have to be very good at what we do. And even if we come from scratch, but with a big investment, we have to be very precise, we have to be very good, and we have to build that IT, marketing, and e-commerce ecosystems to success and to let us be flexible, to change, to adapt to the market, and to scale. So the second block, it is about managing and orchestrating a 360 digital strategy. So about this, and before talking about this, let's see the roadblocks in achieving that 360 digital strategy. I'm sure that these trade-offs resonate to you. Any project, any investment that we do needs to have a very slow, a very quick time to market. We have to provide an ROI, but the question is that the customer journey nowadays is broken. The customer is not loyal. The customer is changing to come through companies, through mobile, through the web. They can see alternatives. They can see products they can buy directly to China. We are competing with prices. We have many systems. We have IT bottlenecks. We have a lot of tools, integrations that are not working very well. We count on legacy systems, and this makes the e-commerce manager, the chief marketing officer, or e-commerce director makes their lives very difficult and very stressful. We are aware about this from the IT and operation point of view, and from the marketing point of view. When we are planning a digital strategy, we come across to this. I'm going to start with a happy world. I'm going to put a use case about this user, Jake, that, for example, and this is going to sound very familiar to you, they go to Facebook, they interact with our ad, Facebook pixel is launched, Jake clicks on the ad and goes to our site, and this visit is registered as new, coming from Facebook ads. Maybe Jake doesn't end up buying in our site, it doesn't matter. We have that data. 1 week later, we retarget this user in the Meta network, for example, in Instagram or in Facebook, and this user again clicks on a more tailored ads. The pixel is fired, the cookie is updated with that interaction, the user comes or lands into our web page in a personalized web page, and let's assume that Jake's ends up buying. It's registered as a returning visitor from that Facebook campaign. That campaign receives the attribution, and Jake is going to be in a suppression list aligned to his purchase, because we don't want to bother Jake next week offering again the same product that he has just bought. But this is unrealistic. The ugly truth is as follows. Jake interacts with our ad, for example, but the Facebook pixel is blocked because of regulatory concerns, because he has an ad block, or because he's using Safari, and Safari or Firefox are blocking third-party cookies. That is, we are not going to receive the information from that cookie. And Chrome, and Google is working on that also, and third-party cookies are going to be a question of the past very, very soon. In theory, it was going to be this summer. It seems, as always in the last years, it's been delayed, but it's not going to take too long to get rid of the third-party cookies. So Jake goes to our website. Facebook is going to be unable to retarget with personalized content to this user. The interaction is going to be unknown. So, for example, 1 week later, we can keep impacting this user, but as an anonymous user, without knowing his interaction. But let's suppose that Jake searches for our product for our website online, goes to our web page, and in this case, this is going to be counted as a new visit not as a return visit. So we are starting to contaminate the metrics. Let's suppose that Jake ends up buying, despite all these difficulties, ends up buying our product. So it's going to be accounted as a new visitor and a new conversion from a new visitor on the first session. So this is contaminated. This is a contaminated metric. We cannot have an attribution, and we cannot assign to our marketing efforts and campaign this sale. So what this is turning out to be is that because of this, we are having a 30% less in tracking. For instance, when I was the director of e-commerce in Pullmantur, that was a travel agency in Spain in the cruising industry, when we implemented the content management platform totally compliant with the GDPR, from one day to another day, we lost 40% of the traffic in analytics. That is, it's not that we actually lost 40% of all our traffic, but in our analytics, we couldn't measure 40% of that traffic. That was dramatic. So we had to be working on workarounds to try to avoid people to reject all cookies. So this is aligned with this figure, okay? We have a 20% less of perceived return on advertising. Why? Because of the previous example. In the previous example, that purchase from Jake is going to be assigned to Google or to direct source, not to my Facebook campaign where I did a retargeting. Well, I couldn't do a retargeting because of the regulatory concerns and the privacy concerns with the browser, for example. So it seems that my social media campaigns are not working as well as before. And the question is that I don't know if they are working as well or not because I don't have that information. And I'm going to allocate budget with a 10% less of efficiency. That is, I'm going to take decisions that are going to be less efficient, and that, for example, I'm going to stop investing in Facebook or in social media because I see that I have no return or I cannot justify that investment as I could before. So this can have an impact up to a 15% on revenue loss. So these are the main roadblocks that I'm sure that you are totally familiar with. And then the marketing technology ecosystem and the platforms have been evolving to many solutions, okay, to try to overcome this. And one of the solutions that we are going to focus today, although it's not the only one, it's the DXP. DXP stands for Digital Experience Platform, and it's the normal evolution of what it was in the past, a content management system that was a monolithic approach to these content platforms. The evolution of the web experience management, that is actually, well, a content management system that is able to serve content in different channels and devices. And with a DXP, we put content creation and we put the administration of digital assets in another level. We are able to personalize experiences. It's going to let us save time, costs, and licenses, and we will see why. It is focused on data enrichment, on zero-party data and first-party data, okay? And of course, a DXP is going to be the core of our digital assets that is going to be totally integrated with our back office, ERPs, or some other marketing tools. It is true that the DXP also come out of the box with a set of functionalities that are going to save up time and cost in licenses and in having to use many niche players tools. So the benefits, okay, time to market, costs, great experiences, we can personalize experiences, and we are going to be able, if we configure it and implement it in the right way, and for this you need business consultancy, something that we can at Nomad Mood also provide. We are not just technicians. We can, with a very good implementation on business and marketing processes, you can even increase a 60% your profits. All this data has been provided from real real case uses from real data, okay? In this case from Magnolia, okay? So you have here the source, and if you click, you can see the source of and the use cases this data come from. So with DXP, we changed the mind from silos to excellence. That is, the content is designed, or the platform is designed to connect and to integrate with some other tools to create more engaging experiences and more satisfied customers. Okay, so basically what I told you, DXP is at the core nowadays, or should be at the core of our customer experience when talking about web experiences, or even mobile experiences, or even mobile application experiences, because you can have many fronts, you can have many multilingual sites in different locations worldwide. You can provide that content in the form of a mobile application, a web page, landing page, different landing pages, different campaigns, but they are going to be totally adapted, and they are going to be personalized to the user interaction and to the user preferences. So your mission as a marketer is to generate traffic, to qualify this traffic, and you are going to be able to qualify this traffic with the marketing options that you are going to be able to set in the DXP, that is going to be connected to your CRM, to your customer data platform, to your call center. You are going to receive also traffic from social media, and all this, the mission is to, through zero and first party data, to collect these pieces of information and build a profile of that user and that visit. That profile can be anonymous because you only have a session, okay? But with a DXP, you can add pieces of information from social media, from previous interaction. If the user has accepted our cookies, for example, our first party cookies, so you can keep that session, you can enrich that session in future visit, you can create audiences with this traffic to impact in other advertising networks, okay? And then our mission should be to identify that user, for example, with an email, with a phone, with something that makes him unique. And once we have, for example, an email, or it can be some other identification, then we can stitch or we can build that profile with some other tools that we have, and we don't depend on cookies. We don't depend on whether the user changes the browser or rejects all cookies or clears up all the cookies. And with this strategy, we are going to be able to know about our user, and we are going to be able to better personalize all the interactions that happen in all our digital assets. So here we find two blocks: the marketing strategies that we have to do to generate this traffic, and the marketing strategies to personalize what the user sees when lands in our digital assets, and the IT stack and the marketing technology stack that we have to have ready, configured, and working seamlessly to create these experiences. And one of the main marketing stacks or IT stack is the DXP, okay? That is going to be the glue of the experience. So how to make life easier to marketing teams? So the core capability of DXP is flexibility, because it's divided into, the architecture is divided into functionalities called packaged business capabilities, or PBC, okay? Each package business capability is a set of functionalities built for a specific purpose that can work independently from the rest, okay? So this breaks the monolithic approach of older content management systems and older platforms. from bulky and walled garden CMS ecosystems, we go to platforms that are composed on microservices, on PVC, on modules that we can take one, take other, connect them, all of them, or connect them with our CRM, with our CDP. We can use the data asset management of the DXP, or we can use other that we are using because it fits better our needs. So we can use, for example, only the content management system functionalities of a DXP. We can use the whole package as a monolithic solution. We could have, and this is the most common use case, to have our team of designers working on Angular, on React, or in another independently platform that later is going to be integrated in the DXP. This is the concept of headless. You can work your functionalities, you can create a functional analysis, you can create a prototype, you can create a development that later is going to be totally integrated in a seamless way with your DXP. So this puts experience in another level. You know, in the past, what happens to me is that I've been working above all with business, with operation teams, just trying to get the most from e-commerce and marketing capabilities and projects and to have an impact on business and on operations. And what happened many times is that you designed a great an impactful web experience or mobile experience. The functionalities were awesome, and with the functional analysis, and when that was handled to the developing team working with a platform, they weren't able to match the functionalities that we had set because the platform had limitations, because they were not experts on doing this, you know, transitions, animations, or whatever, or the functionalities, or because of the own limitations of the monolithic solution. With a DXP, all this is fixed. Of course, you have to have a good designing team, a good developing team, and this is also that we all the end-to-end of these projects provide in Nomad mode, okay? So we can rely, for example, on the marketing automation and personalization capabilities of the DXP, or boost these capabilities with our marketing automation or CRM platform that we can have. So imagine the impact if the user is surfing your web and you have him identified, and instead of a pop-up, you send an SMS with a discount that is going to be valid for the next 10 minutes. Why an SMS? Well, it can be an SMS, a push notification, or I mean an email marketing, but I'm totally sure that if you send an SMS with a code, it's going to create an impact, and because we are not longer used to receive SMS, but that's an example, okay? So with a DXP, and for us, what a DXP has to have, and as a summary, it's that hybrid headless CMS. So this let us have different front offices, sites, e-commerce in different locations, different URLs, subdomains with different look and feel and marketing strategies, and handling that from a single platform. So this changes everything. It is not that you have to create an instance for one experience, another instance for another experience, another instance maybe using the same CMS for another experience, and then you have to have 3 different instances, 3 different admin credentials, and you have to be administering the same platform in 3 different instances. Now with a headless CMS, with a DXP, you can do all this and have all this strategy from a single location, okay, and a single platform. Of course, what you see is what you get editor, that's no brainer. Multi-language and localization. I'm not speaking about having the ability or capability to translate content. That's no brainer either. It's about tropicalizing the content. That is, I can create, if I'm a travel agency, I have one platform, I have one system, but I have different fronts, different experiences, whether my user is in the UK, in Spain, or in the US. And for example, if I'm a an air company, my flights are the same. The quality is going to be the same of the flights. The product is basically the same, but the experience and what I'm going to tell and to show is going to be totally different for the US customer or user, from the British user, and from the Spanish user, all in their content, in their language. And also, if you need it, we have technology, we have partners to translate automatically all that content in any language, not in any language in the world, but in the most common languages in the world, through artificial intelligence, and with also human intervention or supervision, without you having to do anything. Okay, and without you having to send the content to a translating company, receiving it and uploading in the CMS. So all this is possible, not just with the DXP, but with the technology that we can incorporate to the DXP. Of course, workflows and approvals, you can create personalization journeys, as you can do, for example, in HubSpot or in another marketing automation, but you can do all this with the DXP functionalities, or you can integrate some other marketing automation capabilities and platforms that are going to probably enrich more this functionality. But you can start with what the DXP comes with. We are going to work, as I said, in the multi-language and localization. We can work content as a service. Okay, we are going to have the infrastructure to deliver this content with the CDN and with the infrastructure that the vendor of the DXP is going to provide us. And of course, all this is with no code and low code functionalities. That is, in other words, we are going to stop that dependency on IT teams and that IT bottlenecks. You need a learning curve. You need to train people and the marketing teams, but they don't need to do, for example, SQL queries. They don't need to be working with code. The only thing that they need is to understand the platform, the interface, and to have creativity to just focus on business rules and workflows. And this is what any marketing professional is longing for nowadays. So in the strategies to unify digital assets with business needs, I'm going to put you and I'm going to explain it with an example, as I did with the problematic with the first and third party cookies. So why a composable DXP is the axis of agile transformation? Let's assume that, again, our friend Jake goes to our website. We may know where he's coming from third-party cookies, but we are going to assume that we don't know anything about Jake and that we are not working with third-party cookies. We are going to track interactions. If Jake accepts our first-party cookies, we are going to have more information. If not, it doesn't matter. At least we are going to be able to know what Jake is doing in our website. We are going to be able to personalize based on that information that we on those interactions. We are going to personalize the experience. The personalization comes with interactions. Our objective, depending on the market, depending on our company, but our main objective is going to get to know better Jake, to try to identify Jake. So our objective is to have more solid data. When Jake is in our website, for example, and when we are getting this information, all this information is going to go, if we have it, to our customer data platform, or it can go to our CRM, even if Jake is not a client, but we are creating a client or a customer file where we are going to put all that information. Maybe we don't know it's Jake yet, but we have an ID created and where we are seeing the interaction or recording the interaction. So also, we are going to try to get that zero-party data, that is data that the user is going to voluntarily share with us, with forms, with contextual communication. So this depends also on the marketing heads, focusing on getting engaging experiences without being the technology a barrier. So all this that goes and it's integrated with our CRM, see that the direction of the arrows are bidirectional, because in real time we are getting all this information and we are making contextual communications in the website to Jake. And by contextual communications, and I don't mean filling the screen with pop-ups, but just personalizing the experience with the products and with the messages or with the content. Let's suppose that Jake calls us, and with a virtual call center with artificial intelligence assisted, the conversion can be transcripted. This is a no-brainer nowadays. We can have sentiment analysis. We can have a conversation summary. That is, you can be half an hour on the phone, but summary that in a couple of paragraphs in the customer file. We can be creating real-time scripts as our phone operator is talking to Jake. Imagine a phone operator that cannot, maybe it receives a calls and sees the customer file in the CRM, but doesn't have time to prepare a script. The artificial intelligence can help us in that. We are working with marketing technology providers in virtual call centers that let us do that. All that information is going to be stored in the customer data platform in our CRM, so we can create alerts. We are going to have that sentiment analysis. About sentiment analysis, I've been leading e-commerce and digital marketing teams and departments, and 5 years ago, a decade ago, I received, the typical tools that did this voice of customer analysis with the sentiment analysis, and it turned out to be very poor. 90% of all comments and all interactions were neutral, 5% positive, and 5% negative. I think this sounds familiar to you. Now artificial intelligence has changed all this. We are in another level. So we can even create triggers depending on the sentiment analysis. For a second level support operator, call the user or create a communication or trigger some action in our marketing automation tool. For example, after this interaction that Jake had with us in our website and in our call center, our marketing automation tool triggers or sends an SMS, an instant messaging communication through WhatsApp if we have the permission. Okay, it's very important, the customer intimacy, to give the tools to the user to set the preferences. And if we give this control to the user, you could be surprised how flexible they are. Maybe they don't want to receive emails, but they are open for communication through WhatsApp, but not through phone calls. So with this, we can personalize how we communicate with our customers. So depending on this information, we interact with our user, in this case, Jake, and with this SMS or this email or IM communication, we see that the user goes to our digital asset, to our landing page, to our web page, and we are going to be able to personalize all this interaction with our digital asset based on first-party data, zero-party data, on the interaction with our private communication, on the sentiment analysis, without having to rely on third-party cookies. And this is where magic appears. Now we don't have to be relying in these third-party cookies, but we are able to create this user profile. We are going to stitch information from several, or we are going to, the information from several sources, we are going to be stitching them in this profile that is going to be shown in our CRM, that is going to be communicated with our customer data platform that can receive unstructured information from other sources, whereas a CRM relies more on structured contents or data. And this is going to let us increase conversions and increase average order value and increase repetition and loyalty. If I were you in the audience, I would be saying, okay, this is great in a PowerPoint. A PowerPoint, you can put whatever, or in a spreadsheet. If I were you, I would ask, can you show me this in a real case, in a use case, in a real case scenario? Of course, and this is the idea of this call, of this webinar, just to let you know that this technology exists. that we are partnering with the best DXP and vendors in the market, and that if you want to see a real case, okay, it's just a matter of having a call and see or the needs or the problems that you have, and to let us help you in that business consultancy, for example, because I am aware that in a PowerPoint, everything looks great, but the difference is that nowadays we can do this. We can do this seamlessly and with the technology that we find nowadays, and that it's not no-brainer, but that it's something that we are working every day. So our business case, I'm going to go quick because I want to leave at least 15 minutes for the Q&A section. So as you are going to receive this presentation, you have here the use cases. Again, they are just a summary. They are very, very short for you to have an idea to the detail. We have here generally the Italian insurance company. See that we are putting here Magnolia always at the DXP. It is not because we only work with Magnolia, we work with some other vendors. But I understand that the audience today is very marketing oriented, business oriented, and probably you are, you have this mentality, this priority, and Magnolia is very well focused and it's great at creating marketing experiences. But anyway, it can, for any project or any industry, it can be valid also. And in this case, I wanted just to show you that from an insurance company, a B2B company of certifications, Zione is a group of optical clinics that needed a partner portal, that needed to manage content, to RPA, robot process automation processes. All these we developed. And also in the transport sector, in a travel agency, very well known in Spain and throughout Europe. Okay, they had an elevated time to market, processes, complex content edition, little reuse of developments. They needed to centralize all their efforts and to be more efficient. And we migrated everything, in this case to Magnolia, as I told you. We were using, and we realized that with the digital asset management capabilities of Magnolia, it was enough. They didn't have to rely on third-party solutions in this case. They needed to personalize or tropicalize content depending on whether the user was in Spain, in Italy, in the UK, in the US. This was the example I put you earlier. So this could be done with one DXP with a set of rules. Of course, we have to work on the set of rules, but here the focus is on the marketing and business teams. Work on them. What do you want? What is the workflow that you have in mind? And we can prepare the DXP and do the training for you to do it with no code knowledge, just knowing the interface that, as you know, today are user-friendly and very intuitive. And we also provided the consultancy for growth techniques, growth marketing initiatives, and we were able to increase their average order value, conversion rate, and sales. So in our look to the future, how we see the future, very quick, personalization is all, okay? And we can see that personalization is here to stay. If you don't personalize, if you don't work on that, you are out of the market. And it is not only personalization, it has to be good personalization and real-time marketing. This is going to have an impact nowadays in your business. The problem that you can have is that if you don't incorporate this in your business, in a couple of years, in 3 years, you are going to be lagging behind. Artificial intelligence. Notice that I didn't talk too much. I didn't want to focus on artificial intelligence because there's too much hype on that, but it is true that it's going to change business and everything as we know it now. So for example, Magnolia comes with a prompt generator integrated already in DALL-E. We can have sentiment analysis with artificial intelligence, and voice of customer takes another level. In my previous experiences, voice of customer projects were very time consuming. You needed the tool, but after that, you needed an army of people interacting with all the comments, with all the interactions, with all the unstructured to have, and you had to do manually all the clusters. Of course, you relied on a tool. The tool was helpful, but until a given context. Nowadays, you can do this in a matter of minutes, okay? Content marketing reloaded, thanks to artificial intelligence, we are going to be dealing with a large volume of high quality content. Marketing costs will drop. It is not the artificial intelligence is going to write our content. It is that it's going to make us very fast, very quick, and we need just, for example, when you are blogged, when you need to deliver a lot of content in different formats for different channels, with the basics, you can create all that in minutes and just fine tune. We are all already familiar with all these artificial intelligence tools that create videos with your face in other languages, or that is going to let you transcript anything that is written with your face, with your voice of tone, tone of voice, sorry, and with all this. So the age of contextual marketing is here. Real-time marketing. Okay, we can create now with artificial intelligence unlimited buyer personas with real data. Just with data, for example, that you can get from a social login, you can create. We have tools that are very easily integrated in the DXP, in your CRM, in your CDP to create audiences based on real interest without having to ask the user. You only have to manage the consent, of course. When I've been creating buyer personas a couple of years ago in my previous company, it took us almost 6 months to have 6 buyer personas with the all techniques, you know, design thinking, methodology, meetings with all stakeholders, departments, creating, you know, the buyer persona, the interest, the pain points, how we can solve the need and the problem. Now, with artificial intelligence and with a good set of data, you can create unlimited buyer personas to cross interest and to try and test. Maybe not all the buyer personas are going to be what you need, but it's going to take you 1 week of trying to find out if this buyer persona is your authentic buyer persona or not. So we are speeding up the process. So we can achieve in hours or days what it took us months or even years. And we can create, as soon as we keep on evolving, we can create marketing automation campaigns in autopilot. The only thing that we have to do is to supervise and to think on business, or to think on new business models, new revenue models, and this is going to be facilitated also by the predictive analytics that is going to change the way that we measure our activities and to change in KPIs. And I am sure, guys, that with this thing about artificial intelligence, I used to say that we are in the prehistory of artificial intelligence, but last year we left the Paleolithic era. We are now in the Neolithic. So imagine what artificial intelligence will look like in 5 years, 2 years, or 10 years. It's going to change totally the analytics, the way we work. There will come new business models, new ways to operate. We don't know yet exactly. We are in a period like the beginning of this century where we knew that the future was mobile, the future was internet, but we didn't know how. And then in the year 2007 came Apple and said, okay, smartphones experience is going to be like this. And from this, everything has evolved. I think that we are in this period and that everything is going to change. But the question is that you have to be prepared to this change. You have to be adopting all this technology to know how they work, to be ready and to be prepared for these disruptive changes. The person that wasn't in internet, that didn't have a normal mobile phone, a feature mobile phone, from zero to handling an iPhone is not possible, okay? So that's why we have to be ready. And with this, Nomad Mood, we can help you in this digital transformation strategy or projects or needs that you have. I'm not going to read this. You have it in the presentation. And any question, any doubt, or our contact details, I'm Eduardo Cano. And here on the right, you have the contact details of Surit Humder, who is in the who is in the UK, is our country manager. And as you see, we have a foothold in the UK with a company already in the UK with Surit, and of course with me in Spain and with the technical team that we have. So that's all for now. We have less than 10 minutes, sorry, but just a little bit for question and answers. Rebecca?
Brilliant. No, thank you so much, Eduardo. That was fantastic. As Eduardo mentioned, we do now have about 10 minutes for any questions that you might have, and I'll kickstart the Q&A, Eduardo, with one that we've had come through, and it's, how does a DXP increase the customer retention rate, and by how much does it increase?
Well, actually, I used to say in this kind, I used to say that it is not the tool by itself. The tool is going to let you create experiences that are going to let you increase your customer retention rate. If you make really and truly personalization campaigns or real-time marketing, the user is going to be more engaged. We know that the user is very nervous. They go to websites, the navigation is happening at very quick rates and times, and we don't used to read too much. We just want to be impacted. So the more information that you have, the more contextual, the more personalized content you can provide. You, in a way, you have to try and see, to try and configure, to see which audiences are, but I wouldn't even talk about audiences, but about users, and to see which kind of interactions, which kind of content serves better at least a buyer persona. And we can create, as I said, many buyer personas, unlimited buyer personas, and then try and see the DXP. What is going to let you is to try this in real time or with a quicker time to market, and to validate your hypothesis instead of having to work with less set of data, with less tests. You can, instead of A/B testing, you can do a multivariant test, and then you can see how you increase customer retention. Anyway, a DXP can increase you the customer retention not by the DXP by itself, but for example with RFM models, recency frequency models, that you are going to be able to do with your customer data platform or your engagement platform, or even in your CRM, or if you do something ad hoc, and then you interact depending on if it's a very loyal customer, if it's a dormant customer, and if this dormant customer goes to your site, and then you have a business rule that is going to be triggered when this user comes with, I don't know, it can be discounts, it can be personalized content. So how much? Well, it depends. I can tell you, you can increase from 2% up to 20%, depends on the business maturity. It depends on you know, on the funnel, on the marketing funnel. You know, yeah, it depends on where that user is on the marketing funnel, all these kind of things. But that you are going to have an impact, of course, we should do the study, we should see the situation, and then we have to work on the hypothesis, on the tools, and to tell you then, okay, with these figures and with your maturity status, we do really think that with these marketing processes and with the tools behind, we can tell you that you are going to grow at 10%, at 20%. And this is our commitment when we do something like that. That is, we don't only implement technology, but we help businesses in setting this.
Fantastic. Thank you, Eduardo. Another one that we've had is, why should I choose a DXP instead of a custom development? I don't need all of the features and my business has special needs.
Well, yes, above all, because a DXP, but let it be a DXP or a CRM, it comes with a set of functionalities already built, and they are going to cover 70 or 80% on, or even more of the needs that you have as a business. So it doesn't make sense to create a content management system when you have great content management systems already in the market. You have data asset management already built. So maybe you are a travel agency, as it's the case of the use case that we showed, and the sales funnel has to be tailor-made. It has to meet your needs. You want to personalize it. Okay, we can build that and integrate it in the rest of the DXP experience. So this is why, and also because the evolution of the DXP is going to be at larger pace than if you do it tailor-made, or if you customize the development, you are never going to be able to grow at the same speed as a DXP. So it's going to save up time, it's going to increase your efficiency, and it's going to let you focus more on business and to shorten the project timings.
Great, thank you. And then finally, I think we have time for one more. What's the difference between zero, first, and third-party data?
A very good question, because yes, I was assuming that everyone knew about that. Okay, zero-party data is the data that we get from that the user shares voluntarily with us. For example, when filling out a form, when the user is in a preference center saying that I don't want to receive communication by mail, but it's okay by SMS, for example, when they gives us their email, that's zero-party data. The first-party data, we take this data from the interactions that the user has in our website. For example, the visits, the purchase habits, the purchase history, the time spent in the site, so we can build that profile. The user is not giving us voluntarily that he has spent 2 minutes in our site, or that he has, hey, I have bought this product. He bought and he buys the product, and we record that information. Third-party data is aggregated data from third companies. Facebook knows the interaction in their site and shares that information with us. This is what is being blocked and what we cannot count on. Also because there's been, mishandling of this information. And there's another that is the second data party, that is the data that two companies share. For example, when you are as a user in a form and it says, you agree that you share your information with our collaborators. So that data that I'm filling out, it's first-party data for this company. And if that data is shared with its collaborators, it's second-party data for these collaborators, okay? Normally people don't like second-party data. When we are filling out a form, we use, no, don't share my data with your partners, because they are going to be bombarding me with phone calls and with emails. So that's why I focus above all nowadays in first-party and zero-party data.
Fantastic, makes perfect sense. Thank you. I think we will wrap it up there, just in the interest of timekeeping. But as we mentioned earlier, we will be sharing Eduardo's contacts, and you can see it on your screen right now and following this session. So any questions that perhaps you haven't had the chance to ask, please feel free to contact Eduardo directly, and I know he'll be very happy to get back to you. Again, I will also be sharing the recording of the session and the presentation. So please do feel free to share that with any colleagues or anyone who you think might find it useful. The recording will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, along with other recordings from past webinars and highlight videos from our events. But yeah, just to thank you, Eduardo and Nomad Mood, for collaborating with us today. It's been a fantastic session, very, very useful. And thank you obviously to everyone that's joined us as well. We do have a very busy events calendar. Please do check it out and join us for as many events as you're able to. In particular, we have our Golden Award celebration coming up on the 17th of October at the Embassy of Spain. So if you're able to join us for that, please do. But a thank you once again, Eduardo.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Thank you very much to all attendees for your attention, and keep in touch. Bye.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.